The Van Buren Warriors are proudly sponsored by the Packwood Locker, Packwood, Iowa, Smithburg Auto of Fairfield, Iowa, and Henshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa. We have Coach Shellman of the Van Buren Warriors, who have won 3 of their last 4 games. Welcome to the program, Coach.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Well, we were in Columbus Junction, and we had you as a featured game last night. But before that, you beat Fairfield. We talked a little bit about that one, but you got a win over, I believe it was Davis County. Let's start there.
Yeah, that's kind of I wouldn't say a rival game for us, but it's a really close game with them only being about 20 miles away. So it's a Saturday non-conference game for us with a traveling trophy sponsored by Will's Hometown Drug. It's a local pharmacy here. So it's always a high-intensity game for us, and Davis County's kind of struggled a little bit. They're a young team, but so are we. And so we were able to go over there on Saturday and kind of clean house. I think all 4 of our teams won. Our girls might have lost, but 3 of the 4, and come away with the traveling trophy, which is really huge for a young team and us to kind of turn the corner and gain some momentum here down the stretch. And we had control of the game from the start. I think at halftime it was like 41-9, and we ended up finishing it with like 68-31. And so we controlled the game a lot. We had a really good shooting night, had a very well team mentality where we had multiple guys in double figures for us. And so it was a good win overall.
Okay, you got was there a leading scorer or anything like that?
Yeah, we had Will Corral that was leading the show for us. He actually rolled his ankle for the second time pretty bad against the New London game, which is a game we kind of, our wind got let out of our sails a bit, and we unfortunately lost at New London on Tuesday night. But Will Corral kind of healing his ankle, was able to come back. He didn't start on Friday when we played Mediapolis and lost, but Saturday we put him back in the starting lineup, and he really led us offensively and defensively, but for the most part offensively. I think he finished with like 21 points and quite a few assists as well. And so he kind of led us down the stretch. But like I mentioned, we had a well-rounded team game for that. Jace Duncan had a game that was kind of a breakout game for him to kind of get back into the groove of things as a sophomore for us. And Landry Leffler and Kinnick Miller both had really good games for us as well.
Well, and then last night you were on the round guy ready and you get I believe a 10-point win over Columbus. You had a 4-point lead at half, and you took a 6-point advantage into the second half at the end for a 10-point win. It was a close game. It was tied at 43 for a little bit there, but then you kind of took control. I want to talk to you about a particular matchup I thought was interesting in that game, and that was Ellis Hills Carrier for Columbus going up against Will Corral. I thought that matchup was interesting, and I thought Will Corral really played well in that game.
Yeah, he did. With him having that bum ankle that I've talked about, we were trying to maybe not have him be the guy that has to shut down the number 10, but he kind of started the game really hot, and so we switched it over to Will, and I think Will did a really good job for us. To my knowledge, I haven't went back and looked at tape yet, but to my knowledge, he only had 1 point in the second half, and that was on a free throw down the stretch with like a minute and a half left in the game. And so Will did a really nice job there. They were 2 very mirrored players, in my opinion. They do a really good job of getting downhill, and they both can shoot really well. Will had an off night as far as his overall shooting goes, but he was still a leader for us vocally and on the court, being able to get our teammates involved. And, it's a tough place to play when you go to Columbus Junction. Something about that gym, it's a long bus ride for us. And so, when we've played 5 games in 7 calendar days, it also makes it even more hard to get off the bus. And when you're trying to, keep that ankle wrapped as tight as possible for Will, and we've been battling sicknesses here the last couple weeks. That a win's a win, and we're glad to do it against a good Columbus Junction team. And they have a winning record, and you got to give their coach props for getting them ready every night. And so it was a good quality win for us.
Yeah, you must have out-rebounded them in that game, and I think if I could point to one aspect of it that was the difference, I think that was the difference. But Kinnick Miller and Jace Duncan really seemed to be in the right place at the right time for a lot of those boards, weren't they?
Yeah, Kinnick's he leads our team as rebounds. I think he gets about 6 a night, maybe 5 or 6 a night for us, and he's one of those kids that you might not see him score 20 points a game, but he was definitely getting all the boards for us in the Davis County game, and then the same last night. I mentioned at the Davis County game that Jace Duncan had a breakout game for us. He really figured. I think the light bulb kind of went off on as far as what his role should be for our team, and so the last 2 games he's had really good games. He struggled a little bit on the shooting end, and I think he's finally figured out that to get rebounds and then get some steals and go get layups makes his shooting a little bit better. And so the last 2 games, I would like to credit a lot of the success to those kids just for being able to win the rebounding battle.
Well, you got another player there that might have been the MVP of the first half, and really when he started playing well is when you kind of started to get a lead and hold it. Was this running back you got? I think his name was Simmons or Simons.
Yep, Caden Simmons.
Yeah, Caden Simmons. He scored several points in consecutive. He was playing good underneath the basket there. Did you think he helped you to that win?
Oh, absolutely. He's one of those kids. He's actually trying to nurse his ankle as well. Both him and Will rolled their ankles about the same time. And so we've been trying to limit both of them as far as minutes goes, just since we are playing so many minutes here in the last couple weeks. But he gave us a really good spark, especially down low. He's a kid that went out as a freshman, kind of wanted to focus on football and not and then as a senior decided he wanted to come out for us, and he's been a really good addition to our program. He's able to jump really high, and it doesn't take much for him to get up there to put the basket in the hoop. And so he gave us a good spark last night. He did start on carrier there, and so he helped us on the defensive end too, which I think got him going on the offensive end. But I think he did have a really good game and did give us a spark to kind of get us over the edge too.
Well, is there anybody else we didn't talk about? So many guys making a big contribution, guys off the bench, guys, in the 4 or 5 kind of roles there on the starting. Terrific team effort. And before I turn this over to you, I want to tell you, I come down to see you play there against Lone Tree, and I thought you had a similar game management, and the team was kind of playing at a high level, and I thought they were playing at a little. It looked like they were playing at a high level from where I was sitting anyway, particularly defensively. But tell us a little bit about, how maybe that scrimmage against Lone Tree, did that spark something? Because you won 3 games here in a pretty short order.
Yeah, we struggled in the first part of the season as far as just playing well as a team. We had one guy that kind of wanted to do it all, and then the next night you'd have another guy that wanted to do it all. And we knew in order for us to be successful, we have to have multiple guys contributing to the team, and we need to play defense with 5 guys and not just one guy working their tail off. And so we focused really hard during the Christmas break to be able to do that. And we struggled with some inter team issues as well. And so we kind of got past that hump, and now at this point we're just kind of dealing with the sicknesses and being hurt. But once we kind of started feeling the success and seeing the success, and that's something that we knew we could do all year long, and we hope that we can keep that momentum going. So this is the first 2-game winning streak and since 2019 for us. Usually we win one and lose 5 in between, but we hope to keep the momentum going for tonight, where we have to quickly turn the page and go to Holy Trinity to play a good team. And we know John will at Holy Trinity will have his kids ready to go and play hard.
Well, he was watching last night, and I'm sure you were making him a little nervous because your team can really play well when they do play well. I'm a big believer in wins. You get a win, and that's going to breed other wins. The more wins you get, the more confidence you get. And I don't know if confidence isn't about as good as skill, to be honest with you, in athletics. Well, Coach, I really don't got any more questions about any of those games, but I do got a question or two about what I know you got Holy Trinity. What else you got?
Yeah, we'll have Holy Trinity tonight at Holy Trinity, and then we'll have a senior night in our Hall of Fame induction, our athletic Hall of Fame induction on Friday night against Danville. And then at that point, we look at Central Lee next Friday, and then that kind of wraps up our conference schedule for us. And then we play Clark County as a one last non-conference schedule for us at the end of the month. And then at that point, it's just gearing up for our crossover or our conference, what we call a shootout game. And so we're kind of on the downhill stretch of things, but like you mentioned, we're playing our best basketball at this point
Well, that's
of the
all that
season,
matters, really.
and that's all that matters, like you said.
Just playing good at the end. That's what matters. And you guys are, and all the teams, when you guys are struggling, it always kind of corresponds with playing like the number 3 team in the state and stuff like that. Well, thanks for coming on with us. I ain't got any more questions for you. Is there anything you want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Nope. Thanks again for having us and covering us.
Well, congratulations on an outstanding week you had here.